wonderful Andy Buerger. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So excited to see you again.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you are back. We
Yes.
are welcomed by Andy Buerger, author, right, and founder of Climb for Hope.
Right,
You
right,
were
right.
on the podcast. Oh my goodness, I don't have the notes in front of me. It's in the blurb,
Let's
but
say,
earlier,
I'm going
what
to say
month was
January.
that? What was it? January?
January. Let's say January.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's
now the
awesome.
world has opened up more so, right?
Just literally and figuratively, January was so dark, so cold. You couldn't quite touch the vaccine yet, and now
Mhm.
most of us have been vaccinated. The days are long again. It's awesome.
Right. Oh my goodness. So fill us in. Fill us in on life since January. Any new updates or wins for you that you'd like to share with the audience? How's life?
So both of us are in Baltimore, so we're experiencing the same dreary weather and same. We're in the same geography, so we both experienced the cicadas together, and
Right.
that's been cicadas or a butterfly is I think is so apt for what we've gone through. We've just been dormant, hiding underground, waiting to emerge, and so after 13, 14, 15 long, difficult months of being dormant. We're all outside, we're playing, we're getting back together with friends. I mean, hugging people, shaking
Yeah.
people's hand, hello. It's so refreshing. So that alone in itself has been fantastic.
I agree. That's a really good analogy. I really
Yes.
agree. It's
People in other
amazing.
areas might not understand the cicada and the voracious appetite for eating and other activities, but it's certainly been apt for you and I.
Absolutely. How's the
So,
book?
the book has been great. Thanks for asking. I think we had just come out last time that we had talked, and that's been awesome. Also, because people are like, that is really cool. And we discussed carrying a flag is a kind of a metaphor for making sure that you've got in your pack going to the summit, your flag that says your goal on it and why you're climbing. But it's a metaphor for purpose, making sure your purpose is with you at all times. It's so much easier to get to your summit, to your goal, to your destination if you're carrying that flag. And so I've been writing about that, and I talked about my personal mission was always to take a bite out of disease because of my health, the challenges my loved ones have had. So I've developed a sub-purpose, but then it's just helping people understand the need for a purpose for your business, for your personal life, for your family, and for your nonprofit organizations.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so powerful for me. I've opened up so many eyes on people's personal lives and their businesses. And so
Good.
I've gotten a couple great, I don't want to call them consulting, they're more like fractional work. I'm like a part-time employee for a number of startups going, we're startups, we can't bring you on full time yet, but this is such important stuff. So for example, Ryan Snacks brought me on as director of mission.
Yes.
For their organization. So they've become a mission-driven organization. Like we're all about creating snacking better for people on the planet. So that's something that I'm helping them, and we're baking that into everything that they do. It's not just on the wall, but it's what they're doing. So I'm speaking now. People are going, oh my gosh, let's get these get-togethers now. I'm talking about being a cicada or a butterfly. What are we going to do on the side of this pandemic? We don't want to be the same person that we went in. Let's be changed and different and better when we come out as butterflies.
Yes.
So I've been speaking, doing some fractional work for places like Rhine and Rare Earth Adventures out in Portland, which is an expedition guiding company.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And I think that is such an important point, and honestly, a very common theme universally, globally, that everyone has been talking about is I don't want to live my life the same way that I lived prior to the pandemic. For as exhausting and overwhelming and scary as that chapter that we went through, a lot of people had really good aha moments. A lot of people really enjoyed, in an odd way, that time, that depth with their family, that depth to go through different emotions, right? That's a huge win. That's great.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of, in my mountain climbing stories and parallels, really work with so many different things, and certainly with this thing. We talked about being uncomfortable, being stuck in this pandemic, unable to hug people and touch people, and the kids stuck away from their friends, made us so much stronger. We're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize what I can endure. If I can endure this for 15 months, I can do, X, Y, Z.
So true. So true. So tell us about, those are some great wins, honestly. So tell us about any current challenges that you're seeing in the marketplace, any current challenges that, you've been seeing as life has kind of opened up, and you're national. So how are you managing that?
Yeah. So I think, I think you probably hear a lot of this, is that, it's like that train that's all of a sudden starts going. It pulls, but it gets pulled back again because, it's all the weight behind the train. You just can't take off. It's got the start. All the weight behind, all the cars are holding back that train. And similar when you're mountain climbing, right? The first guy takes off on the rope. You can't get going until the second guy moves because, you can't pull on the rope. There's so much pent up demand out there. Oh my goodness, you've got to be seeing it as well. Every one of my clients is like, "Oh my God, this is crazy," but they can't get the other cars moving fast enough. I've got this amazing women of color company called Laura Tush, which makes sustainable bamboo toilet paper. And oh my God, so many people want it, but guess what? Get in line in China to get on the boat. They can't get the products on a boat back here. And so it's like, we have all this demand. We have all these people who want our product, but they can't get it. Rare earth is like, people want to be outside. They want to book these adventures. Like, I'm sick of being inside. Let's go. But you just can't find enough mountain guides out there to get these trips going. So good problems, but that's what's going on out there.
Well, it's interesting how you just touched on two severely different companies, one a product-based, one an experience-based, delivery of services. And, everyone's having that same issue. And that's a really good way to look at it is that huge train, right? It's like ready to go. But it's like such a slower start, such a bigger pool than it used to be.
Right.
So what's your advice to companies like that?
I'm allowed to ask you a question, so I was going to, how do you deal with that? So,
that's at the end.
I do have a different question for you too. It's so we're hiring as fast as we can in terms of at Rare Earth, and I think it comes down to communication with your clients. It's like, guys, we're waiting for a boat. It's coming, and then people are understanding. If you get, if you're not honest and truthful with them. Oh yeah, we'll have it delivered tomorrow, then you're in trouble. And so you have to deliver expectations to your customers that, we have it, it's scheduled to be on a boat and it'll be here soon. And everyone, I'm not dealing with the clients, but their clients are all being relatively understanding because unfortunately everyone's going through it.
Yes. Everyone knows the status of this pent up demand for sure.
Some people are going, we want to pivot. We want to be in this business that is relying on all these train cars in China that have to make the product, that have to get it on the boat and then have to clear it through customs. And so I want to do something US based that's faster. So people are looking at doing business differently than they were.
That's right. In fact, I just prior to this live show, I just recorded an Entrepreneur Express tip for the podcast. And it was all about when you grow, your systems break, right?
Yes,
that growth, that feeling of growth of like, it's not working. What's going on? Frustration. It's actually the feeling of growth, right? So when you grow, your systems break and you need to rebuild them and look at them with a different lens. And it's good that company that you're consulting is really questioning all of that. Do we want to pivot? Do we want to look somewhere else? Do we need to do it this way? Why are we doing it this way? All of those questions are just so important right now.
Right. And they're not, it's one thing like when one company is, okay, I'm growing, but it's everyone's growing. So everyone has the problem. Like at Rare Earth, we ordered, meals, ready-made meals. You just add water to. Okay, we want, 100, 300 meals. Oh, but we can't get you the vegan ones because there's a supply issue on that. So even if we could find the guides, there's so many different supply chain issues that it's really hard to kind of plug all those holes.
Yes, yes, I know that, and I live it, and I breathe it
Oh,
way
sure.
by the minute, by the
That's
second,
what I
by
was going to ask
the
you on that one.
millisecond. Okay, so my last question for you is, what opportunities are you really seeing out there for you personally in your business and your mission?
Yeah, so I'm helping Rind out, which is
Mhm.
you know
And explain what rind is for
the
those
Rind
who
is
don't know. RIND.
yes, yes. Am I allowed to get up from my chair?
Yeah, go. Of course you can. You can do whatever you want.
Rind makes a dried fruit snack that's
Yeah.
all natural, has no preservatives, no
Mhm.
sugar. It's just dried fruit, and
Are they
so
chewy or are they crunchy? I haven't tried them yet.
so they're these. This is chewy. The current line is chewy, and they're
Okay.
working on a chip,
Oh,
which is
nice.
crunchy.
I like the
So,
chewy ones.
yeah,
I can't wait to try this.
this stuff is the chewy one, and so the name we keep the rind on. So that's where the
Okay.
antioxidants and the fiber are, and also it doesn't wind up in the landfills.
Right. And those are vegan, right?
Vegan as well. Correct.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
vegan. So it's a great dairy-free vegan
Mhm,
option
mhm.
for people. It's convenient. So back to my mountain climbing, you just toss them in your pack, and
Right.
it's really convenient to go, and it's healthy. So I buy into their mission, right? So if I was pushing some sugar laden product, I wouldn't sleep at night. But my mission is aligned with their mission. So I've been studying this thing a lot, and so how does Ryan get me excited? We'll make sure that my mission aligns with theirs, and so when that works, I'm a dedicated person because
Yes.
I have ownership, not necessarily equity, but ownership of what gets put out from here.
Yes.
I love sustainable products and I love healthy products. So I
Mhm,
really buy into their mission, which is a
mhm.
perfect fit for me. So it's awesome that I can help the healthy product, but help them be a mission driven business. So I
Yeah,
win on two areas with these guys.
it's great.
Yeah.
And Andy, that's one thing I really admire about you is on your personal evolution, you really have narrowed in and stayed so true to your internal beliefs, your values, your core values. And that we always say your path and your past has a purpose and a reason, right? We might not understand at the time, but for where you are now,
Yeah.
right? And it
Correct.
really serves you well. So kudos to you. A lot of people really tend to get away from that, and you've really made that one of your top priorities, is making sure that it's something that you are so personally committed and owning and tied to. So that's really admirable.
Thanks. That appreciate that.
Mhm.
Thanks for calling that out.
So now you get to turn the tables on me, and you get to ask me anything, interview me anything, question whatever you got. I don't know what you're going to
It's
say.
like one of those um, donkey booth contests. I can throw
I
things.
know, right? God.
This is not a gotcha question. I'm not trying to nail you, but it's a problem that I keep seeing.
Okay.
In that I'm working through all these startups, and everyone's virtual because they have to be
Mhm.
because of the pandemic. So some of them are hybrid and starting to come back, but
Mhm.
the other ones are like you can't put the genie back in the bottle because they've hired people in San Diego and Chicago and
Right.
Baltimore and New York, and so there's no way we're gonna have an office. And so,
Exactly.
how does a startup? How does a startup that's brand new with no traditions, no
Mhm.
culture, no
Mhm.
stories, and uh, sense of history? How do they create all that? Because it's so important, right? It's not just about making a product and putting it in the pouch and getting it on shelves. It's about shared mission. It's about
Right.
shared culture. It's about shared traditions and
Mhm.
establishing traditions in a startup. If you don't have that, it's so hard um, in a virtual world to create that. Just give me one quick example. So,
Okay.
my friend Mark Jankowski had us all write on rocks,
Mhm.
what we needed to be,
That's
one
good.
word we
Yeah.
wanted to be. And
Yeah.
this rock is 5, 6 years old, and it's on my desk, and I touch it. I come to work every morning to be purposeful. Well, no
Mhm.
one can do that ritual, right? That's
Mhm.
because they can't see my desk. And
Right.
so, as leaders, as managers, more around young, more entrepreneurial, the IBMs and other companies have that.
Mm-hmm.
As you hire virtual people and people that come and go, even, how do you create that, all those important aspects I was talking about, culture, shared
Yeah.
mission,
Yes.
and all that in a virtual world?
Right. Right. When everybody's just kind of silo lane, trying to do that. Well, that's a
Yeah,
really good
like,
question.
people are going to be popping in and out, even if, we do go back and have an office,
Mhm.
there's not going to be any office, but even an office that people are popping in and out of, it's going to be really hard.
That's a really good question. Well, the first to just kind of, I'm going to go to the cultural piece, but my head automatically goes to the accounting and the legal side and the foundational piece of the business to make sure that the structure is strong. Right. When you have multiple employees in multiple states, make sure you are talking to your accountant, because there are different state specifications when you have employees in multiple states from a tax planning purpose. You need to make sure you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And a lot of the bigger companies right now, the big companies I'm talking about, this is going to be a very, very big pain point for them.
Okay.
It's going to be an expensive thing. I'm sure you've kind of read about it already, but that would be my first kind of side note. But to go to your cultural question, right? To take that exercise that you just did with The Rock when you're on a Zoom screen, to make it more personable and less formal, what they could do is one simple step of doing Andy-purposeful in your Google screen name, right?
I'm so glad I came here. I knew you'd have a solution to this problem.
Those little things so you can continue to build rapport. And then what you can also probably encourage is doing one-to-one Zoom calls, 15 minutes max, but teeing up the team with like 3 good opening questions so that they can share about each other. Do you have pets in the house? Like, what's your home office look like? And, what kind of hobbies do you like outside of work? And just pulling those group Zoom calls into one-to-ones to really kind of build those outside connections. But then from a global standpoint of the company really needs to have its brand and messaging on point. And that's why marketing firms are so busy right now, like maxed out. I mean, everybody's maxed out right now, but really making sure that the owner or the multiple owners have that pointed mission clearly outlined and communicated, and present wherever they can, and that everything really speaks to that. And that comes from the owner and the partners really living and breathing it as well.
Yeah, that was, and again, so what I had might be more organic. Our mission, mission was everything. It was on the walls. It was on,
right.
It was on everything. So we were, you didn't need to think about it. It was everywhere. So it's hard in a virtual world because, you can't put it on the bathroom wall. You can't put it on,
right.
the lunchroom. You can't touch it when you walk in, play like a raven today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So, there's ways to do that in connecting and having, those kind of pep talk one-to-one calls. But on the Zoom calls, I think that it's just a matter of really, starting with the company message if you're leading them, or just making sure that it's clear and it's communicated, and that everything is really living and breathing it. And, even if you wanted to have like some fun kind of, you're doing everything virtually for the most part. All these companies are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're at the exhibition company, there's a little bit of, there's an office there that people grab gear, but basically the guys would never really see each other unless they're going to go to the same benefits. That's, an old fashioned virtual company.
Right. Well, and leaders really need to, and managers really need to remember that these Zoom calls, you don't want ever to, well, as much as you can avoid it, to be them showing up and one person speaking at them, and and not having that open, facilitated, collective kind of grooming of the people. And that's what is harder to get through Zoom versus the intimate group setting, the high fives or the words on the wall, like you said.
Right.
So I would really just, from a consulting standpoint, I would pay attention if it's one person that's always speaking up or one person that's always leading the show, and really try and breed that or coach that person on the sidelines to breed that type of environment so that that culture really gets to bloom and blossom virtually. That makes sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
That help?
No, those really, those were, the accounting stuff. I'll pass that along, but the other stuff is, I love the idea of changing my name.
Yeah, I mean, even if Andy, whatever whatever wingman, and then purposeful, whatever it is, you could still do so much flavorful things. You could do things like wear your favorite hat on your Zoom call on Friday. Like, we need to continue to spice it up. And you're right, various companies across the United States are still virtual, hybrid, or full on in person. It just depends on the size, the industry, and everything. So I'm glad you asked that question. I know that it helped a lot of people out there in the audience.
Are you seeing people starting to have company retreats now?
I have seen a couple company retreats, smaller retreats. I've been on site with a lot of teams. Generational shifts is a very, very, very popular topic right now. I think people are finally done, and the younger generation are finally ready to, have that older generation be done and out. Okay. They're like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's do this because I'm tired, and these, the troops are ready to go. Okay. So that's been a lot of the coaching I've been doing. And I'd say a lot of team development, because of that concern that you mentioned, is how do we make sure that everybody's still connected and everyone is exhausted. So how do you help our people not be exhausted? And how do you help them stay engaged and try to keep on showing up? And it's, it's not only that we're overwhelmed with the work side of things, but also, the children's side of things, the family side of things. Like, people want to see their parents that they haven't seen in 15 months.
Yeah, so, sure.
And then you go to the airport and people are in line for 3 hours trying to and then the stewardesses aren't showing up. So it's like all of those different types of things that,
yes,
it's a lot of still unexpected layers of, but I think that we all do life. There's always a plan B. There's always a plan C. There's always a plan D. There's always a plan E. And you just have to keep on being as resilient as we have been and flexible.
Yeah, flexibility obviously is key, right? I don't think we don't want a fully virtual world anymore. We don't want a fully in-person world. So flexible and make work as a hybrid.
So where can we get some of those rinds?
Well, obviously we're in Baltimore, so we can get them at Whole Foods, Wegmans, Fresh Market. But these guys are crushing it. They're just unbelievable people, awesome. Unbelievable business people. So we're on, everywhere from, airlines in LA to Whole Foods in the Northeast.
Oh, that's so good. What a good story. Good story. Well, if they want to be on the podcast, let me know. That'd be a great.
Oh my God, they would love it. They're going to talk about the director of mission, how powerful he is. I'm just giving you a heads up.
Okay, great. Good. All right, good. And where can we buy the book and find the book? Show that one more time for us, Andy. It's so good. Such a great story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're going to have shown us, but it's obviously it's on Amazon. And if people don't like Amazon, I've got some small women-owned businesses that are selling this as well. So it'd be great.
That's great. Well, it always warms my heart being with you. I'm glad you're doing so well. Congrats on everyone that you're helping. They are lucky to have you. And I am really glad you were here today.
I appreciate your help. I feel like it's, Survivor. Once you graduate from Survivor, you do like Survivor in Paradise. And then I get to the next reunion show. This is awesome.
I love it.
Great to catch up and see how well you're doing. So thank you for your time.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, Andy. Take care.
Have a good day.
Bye.